Number one, Ibble Dibble here. Hello, friends. Happy 2023 again. I can't tell you how excited I am for this new year. I think it's going to be a really good one. Okay, today I am feeling petty and villainous, and I want to share with you my petty perspective on why Meghan really hates Jason Knauf. So we all know the basics. Jason is the one that reported Meghan for bullying. Meghan and her legal team maintain that she's no bully. Every single person around her is simply incompetent. Jason is the one who decided not to get involved on either side in the lawsuit she filed against the Daily Mail without the palace's support or approval, submitting his evidence to the court neutrally, and Meghan never forgave him for it because it made her look like the liar she is. But I think Meghan has been hating Jason for a long time. And here's why. Number one, Jason is also American, but the royals really like him. In the lead up to the Sussex wedding, Meghan wasn't even allowed to take photos of the palace interiors, and Jason was allowed to fly his grandma in from Texas, give her private tours of Windsor Castle, Kensington Palace, and Buckingham Palace, and get her interviewed for her local newspaper, the Courier of Montgomery County. The truth is, the royals like him so much that when the whole bullying thing went down, they chose him over her. Let's review the timeline. He reported the bullying, he handed in his notice just a month later, and then magically, a house in Windsor is offered to the Sussexes rather than an apartment at Kensington Palace. It's so strange, but once the Sussexes were out of Kensington Palace, Jason was back and given a big promotion too. There was one popular modernizing young American at KP, and it wasn't Meghan. Number two, they studied some of the same things in school, and he's had a career trajectory something like what she might have had if she had actually gotten good grades and actually passed that foreign service exam she failed. Let's review Jason's CV. Started undergrad at the University of Pittsburgh, transferred to the University of Wellington in New Zealand, graduated with a Bachelor's of Arts in Politics and an International Relations focus, worked in the Beehive for 4 years. Roles included working as a media advisor for Steve Mahari, New Zealand's then Minister for Social Development, also a speechwriter for Michael Cullen, then Deputy Prime Minister, and finally an advisor to Helen Clark when she was Prime Minister. After that, he moved to the UK, got a master's degree at LSE in politics and communications, graduated in 2009, spent 18 months as a press secretary for the UK Treasury, moved on to the Royal Bank of Scotland, where he worked his way up the ranks over 5 years, becoming the Director of Corporate Affairs, and landed in 2015 as the Communications Secretary to the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge and Prince Harry. His role was to, quote, advise their Royal Highnesses on all aspects of their communication with the public, including serving as their primary spokesman to the media, end quote. In 2019, he was promoted to the CEO of the Royal Foundation, a role he had to leave in 2021 to accompany his husband, a diplomat being stationed in New Delhi, but remains to this day a trustee of Earthshot, and even flew into Boston for the awards ceremony. In short, Jason is everything Meghan pretends to be, but for real, he's the one who has mastered public relations. He's the one who was CEO of a successful worldwide environmental initiative and charity. The palace and the Prince of Wales rely on his intelligence, trust his judgment. That's the kind of respect Meghan the nerd, interested in cause-driven work, wanted for herself, but she just doesn't merit it. And it was probably really difficult for her to walk around every day feeling like her servant was more qualified and respected and loved than she was. And especially to us Americans, which again includes Meghan, Jason, and me, her Duchess title is a bit of a novelty. Among us Yanks, we're still all equal. She's just some dumb rich guy's annoying wife, and she knows it. Number 3, he's cultured and very well traveled, like she was desperate to see him when she entered the fold. Not only had he been living in foreign, albeit Anglophone, countries since the age of 19, but before the Sussex wedding, Jason had accompanied William and Harry to 34 different countries. He had perspective on her voluntourism nonsense and probably saw pretty quickly that while she might claim to be open to new cultures and experiences, she actually is intolerant, insensitive to local manners, brittle, and demanding. As someone who has lived abroad for many years, I can guarantee you that Jason was trying not to laugh at Meghan a lot of the time. Number 4. He has integrity. He doesn't mince his words, he stands up for what's right, and he doesn't care if people like him less for it. This is in stark contrast to Meghan, who will say literally whatever it takes to make people like her. A strategy that inevitably backfires because she comes off as completely fake and deceptive, if not deceitful, all the time. Of course, she doesn't even bother doing this with people she thinks are beneath her, like her staff. According to Valentine Lowe, the author of Courtiers, Sam Cohen, Meghan and Harry's private secretary, Sarah Latham, their PR executive, and assistant press secretary Marnie Gaffney were so appalled by Harry and Meghan's treatment that they started calling themselves the Sussex Survivors Club and referred to Meghan as the narcissistic sociopath in office conversation when Meghan was not present. In his email to Prince William's private secretary, Simon Case, concerning filing a report about Meghan's bullying with HR, he wrote, quote, I am very concerned that the Duchess was able to bully 2 PAs out of the household in the past year. The treatment of X, name redacted in published accounts, but it's since been revealed as Melissa Tubati, was totally unacceptable. The Duchess seems intent on always having someone in her sights. She is bullying Y, again redacted in published accounts, but since revealed as Amy Pickerel, and seeking to undermine her confidence. We have report after report from people who have witnessed unacceptable behavior towards Y. End quote. And in a follow-up email after he had filed the complaint with HR, he wrote that Samantha Carruthers, the head of HR, and he both thought the situation was, quote, very serious, and they were concerned that nothing will be done, end quote. When nothing was done in 30 days, he put in his notice. While the palace's findings into the bullying inquiry will never be released to protect the reputations of everyone involved, I think, they have said that their policies and procedures changed due to the inquiry, which wouldn't be necessary if nothing were wrong. Right. Meghan claims the royal family is made up of racist, repressed, image-obsessed do-nothings, and people like Jason are just oppressive, abusive, out of touch men in gray suits. But he was willing to sacrifice his livelihood to make a stand about a toxic work situation. She's not even willing to give up her Duchess of Sussex title and is still trying to figure out a way to make other people pay for her security because her husband is a prince. As for the employees she uses, abuses, and discards, according to her, it's not her job to coddle them. And number 5, the reason for the season. Jason was just awarded a shiny new medal by the royals, and Meghan will never have that honor. It was widely reported ahead of the Queen's Platinum Jubilee that she would be giving Meghan and Harry Jubilee medals, which are actually a rather common award. More than 400,000 were given out in the UK and the Commonwealth, but guess who didn't get one? Meghan. The royals or royal adjacents who received them were Prince Harry, Edoardo Mapelle-Mozzi, Jack Brooksbank, the Earl of Snowdon, and Lord Frederick Windsor. I think it's safe to say that with the Queen gone, Meghan will never receive a royal award or medal ever again, whereas Jason is eligible and likely to climb ever higher in the Royal Victorian Order. And he's not ugly either. It must burn.
What he does so well, makes me wanna yell. Let's hear it for the boy. Oh, let's give the boy a hand. Let's hear it for my baby.